American socialists claim they seek a more enlightened socialism, like those found in Scandinavian countries. But those countries are not socialist. They're capitalist and offer large welfare benefits.
Okay, cool. Can we have that, please? Sure, whatever you want to call it. I'm fine. Now, please. Like, please? Sure, yeah, you're right. You're totally right. Wow, PragerU was right about something. Is this a first? Do we have sentience? Should I wish I had a banner already prepared. I could lower it. It's like, PragerU, the first thing they're factually correct about. All right, one PragerU video, just one PragerU video. I gotta learn. We all gotta learn, everybody. We all gotta learn. You know, this one is by PragerU. I hope you've all brought your pens, your papers, your textbooks. This one's called "Capitalism Wins." It's only 5 minutes long. In classic form, we should be able to learn a little bit in a small little vignette, a 5-minute vignette.
There are many in the West, including many who should know.
Oh, wow. Nikki Haley was the spokesman for Capitalism One. Interesting. Oh, funny that. How's the NRA doing right now? How's the NRA doing? Are they winning at capitalism? Are they? Yeah? It'd be neat to know. How are they doing?
Better, who find it difficult, unpopular, or just plain embarrassing to defend capitalism. I take the opposite view. We should double down on it.
Oh.
For a very simple reason.
Okay.
It remains not just the best, but the only chance for the least fortunate in the world to make life better for themselves and their children.
That's
and
it.
The more we see of
So we're getting basically pure Steven Pinker ideology right now. It's the best possible economic system for uplifting the poor out of poverty. That's right. So, to summarize how this economic system is working, we currently have between 6 to 8 homes in America for every homeless person. So every person who can't be housed, there's 8 empty houses doing nothing. Doing apps, just sitting there. Just sitting there looking pretty. We overproduce food. We become very efficient at it. I'll give you that. Capitalism is very, very good at production and overproduction. We're producing twice as much food as we're consuming. So as a human species, we're throwing out twice as much food as we grow, as we produce, as we raise, sometimes in horrific factory farms, but that's fine. So we're very, very good at abundance. We're very good at abundance under this economic system. That is true. What we're not so good at is distribution. We're really not good at that because, again, a very large portion of the world is going hungry right now. And yet again, we're throwing out food. It's all going towards certain parts of the world. The same thing can be seen with this vaccine. I mean, that would be a great example of it. The poorest countries are going to be vaccinated by 2023, and the richest countries, well, they're getting vaccinated right now because that's it. That's the way distribution works. Now, I think it would be a little bit condescending to look upon or speak to someone who's genuinely poor or destitute and then tell them, this is working for you. This is working for you. And it's the best chance you have. It's the only chance you have right now is the system to keep on doing what it's doing, to keep on funneling money the way it's funneling money to the very rich, to the very wealthy.
Capitalism's rival, socialism, the more proof we have that capitalism is the way we want to go. I've seen this over and over again, from my own childhood to my time as governor of South Carolina to most recently and most dramatically during my tenure as U.S. ambassador to the United Nations. I grew up in South Carolina as the daughter of Indian immigrants. My mom started a small shop selling clothes and gifts that grew into a successful business.
I know PragerU hates studies, facts, figures, logic, numbers, all that kind of stuff, data, analytics, except for the ones they get to make up, the fun ones, But this is a category where you could have at least dropped some of the misleading facts, like at least gone with that, right? Like communism has killed 100 million people. We know this because of the book that says so. What about Steven Pinker's writing? He could definitely talk to you about how capitalism has lifted more people out of poverty. More people now, more than ever, are living above the poverty line, even though it's pretty misleading, the amount that he sets that line at, and it's actually been kind of debunked at this point. But I'm not trying to get ahead of it. I'm just saying, as an olive branch, this is one category where you have quite a bit of numbers you could have thrown at people.
She showed my brothers, my sister, and me what it meant to live the American dream. As my mother's story so vividly illustrates, America is a country where people can find jobs that match their talents and passions. Some Americans take this for granted. The rest of the world envies it.
Wow.
As governor of South Carolina, I marveled at capitalism's power to improve lives.
So is that how it works in America? You can have any job you want. You can do anything you want. That's up to you. It's your choice, every single one of you. So, I mean, all of you who aren't multimillionaires, you didn't want it. You didn't want the American dream, but you could have had it. There's nothing else in the way, not a single obstacle. And the rest of the world, well, it envies that. The rest of the world is like, oh, yeah, if only we had America where we can be anything we want. It's true.
Pro-free market policies helped bring in more than $20 billion in investment and created jobs in every county of the state. Those jobs provide dignity and purpose. And as I often say, when you give a person a job, you take care of a family. During my time as the U.S. ambassador to the UN, I was reminded that not every country enjoys the same freedom and prosperity as America. More than 1.5 billion people still suffer under socialist regimes. In 2018, I stood on the Simon Bolivar Bridge at the border of Venezuela and Colombia. I watched.
Wow. So 2 minutes in, and we're going right to Venezuela. I mean, there's a lot of classics they could have picked, but yeah, let's do Venezuela, sure. And by the way, if we're defining these countries as being socialist, are you going to bring up the economy of China at all? Because I personally don't call China a true socialist country. I wouldn't even consider Venezuela to be a true socialist country. But again, if we're going to play by your rules and play by your game, I mean, you should be bringing up the world's most powerful, fastest growing economy now. I mean, soon they will overtake the United States. And then what will you say?
Thousands of Venezuelans cross into Colombia for the only meal they might have that day. I held a beautiful baby girl. Her mother told me all she wanted for her daughter was a future of freedom. They were one of millions of Venezuelan families whose lives have been destroyed by the country's socialist policies.
Well, I mean, there are some classics. We're going down this road, eh? I mean, I'm not gonna defend some of the actions of the government. I will say this: under Chavez, when he socialized the oil of Venezuela and began, you will see the initial, I want to say, 10 years of that project, resulting in an absolute boom to the lower classes of that country, including increasing the literacy rates astronomically, decreasing infant mortality rates, education, socialized medicine. All of that was fantastic. And it was paid for in large part due to oil sales. It was almost entirely an oil-based economy. His successor, unfortunately, was doing a lot of corrupt shit, was trying to increase his power. I'm not going to deny that for a second. I will say this, though. Also, the sanctions that were placed upon Venezuela did not help the situation at all. The sanctions imposed on Venezuela by the United States, that was limiting greatly their ability to sell oil around the world. And that, of course, yes, does help cripple an economy that is based entirely on, you guessed it, the capitalist sale under capitalism with international markets for oil. And even if you're using that money to redistribute it amongst your populace, you're still requiring the entire neoliberal hellscape of the capitalist system in order to do that.
So imagine my dismay to find that socialism has become trendy here in America.
Uh-oh.
American socialists claim they seek a more enlightened socialism, like those found in Scandinavian countries. But those countries are not socialist. They're capitalist and offer large welfare benefits.
Okay, cool. Can we have that, please? Sure, whatever you want to call it. I'm fine. Now, please. Like, please? Sure. Yeah, you're right. You're totally right. Wow, PragerU was right about something. Is this a first? Do we have sentience? Should I wish I had a banner already prepared. I could lower it. It's like PragerU, the first thing they're factually correct about. Yes, agreed. So we get that now, right? Can we have that now? Because that sounds great. Yeah, please.
But ironically, to make their system work, they've had to repeatedly slash their corporate tax rates. Denmark has cut its corporate rate by more than half since the 1990s. Other democracies, including Israel, India, and the
Yeah, I'm seeing like Denmark has a cap at around 50%. The US is only at 25%, so it's still barely comparable. Yeah. So are you saying that universal healthcare is a good thing then? It works?
The UK experimented with socialism, only to abandon it, and only then did they thrive.
Okay. I understand. It all makes sense now. They were socialists before, they experimented, but then afterwards they thrived. That's right. Kind of a weird one, you know? Kind of like, again, this is so vague. This is so unbelievably vague as a sentence and a statement that it's hard to even criticize it. Like, what timeline are we going by here in terms of they became socialists? Because again, your definition of socialism is just far different from the actual definition of socialism. But I think Britain thrived when it was a superpower colony, building its empire off the back of worldwide slavery, international slave trades, and also when it overtook India. And enslaved India. So, like, what are we saying here in terms of, like, when they thrived?
Only to abandon it, and only then did they thrive. The results are in. Socialism, however you want to define it, has failed everywhere it's been tried. A handful of elites sitting...
Well, I mean, if you don't know what the word means, and you define socialism as anything you want, you can go, like, that technically would be correct, you know? Like, if you had diarrhea one day and you called that diarrhea socialism, and then that stopped, the diarrhea eventually, it passed after a couple of days. You could be like, well, yeah, socialism's been defeated. It's been defeated every single time it's taken form or shape.
In a government office can never outthink millions of business owners and consumers making millions of individual choices every moment of every day. You'd think we'd have gotten the message by now. An entire generation of American adults are too young to remember the suffering socialism caused during the last century. Instead of teaching students to reject our country's history and founding ideals, schools should have a required class.
Why didn't they have a slave in that? There's no slaves. I mean, it's a little disingenuous there. PragerU.
Schools should have a required class on the history and collapse of the Soviet Union. Young people at least have the excuse of being miseducated. But what does one say about corporate CEOs who give in to social trends rather than standing up for a system that their own businesses and workers depend on?
Wow. I mean, I haven't really found out. I mean, I'm pretty tapped in. We do the news like 5 days a week, so it's unusual that I've missed this. But all the corporate CEOs who are now going super woke and calling for socialism, that's based. Wow. Can someone please link me to those corporate CEOs so I can talk to them? All the socialist CEOs. That's wild. I don't get it. Why won't they stand up? Why won't they?
I'm talking about advocates of so-called stakeholder capitalism, a philosophy that retains the word capitalism but abandons its meaning. Recently, the chief executives of some of America's largest companies changed their self-definition. They said companies should focus on customers, workers, and communities. This is just politically correct nonsense. These CEOs know that's what successful businesses already do. It's what they have to do to survive in our capitalist system. A company that cheats its customers, mistreats its workers, and abuses its community won't be around long. Profits are what...
Really? Because they seem to thrive. It actually seems to be like the worse they treat their employees, the bigger their businesses can get and grow. I mean, after all, that's kind of the basis for it, right? Fundamentally, when you cut it down to the raw origins of capitalism as an economics driving system, you're going to need to be able to sell the product that you're getting someone else to make for you for more than you will pay the person who's making that product. That's just how you turn a profit. You know, that's not even a controversial statement. That's how you do it. As these companies grow, as these corporations get bigger, the way to do that and to increase your profits sometimes means shipping those jobs overseas, firing your entire workforce, you know, leaving the entire state of Detroit, the entire city of Detroit, gone, absolutely gone. And then everyone can go to other countries, and then in those other countries, they can work for much cheaper because the labor is much cheaper, and then produce. And then, hey, sometimes you don't even need that. Now we got robots. We can lay off our entire staff, and that'll be all you need.
Keep a business going and allow it to thrive. They generate the funds needed for more job creation. You don't need an advanced economics degree to understand this. So why are these CEOs so anxious to embrace this in-name-only capitalism? Probably because they think they need to placate the noisemakers on the socialist left. But that's a fool's game.
I don't get this part. Not because PragerU's lying. No, that's very on brand. But because who is this one appealing? What are you achieving by this? This is a non-starting problem. Are you just trying to scare your audience into thinking, yeah, what's with all these woke CEOs? You know what they say, go woke, go broke. Why are they all doing it? Why are all the CEOs going woke all of a sudden?
The left is never satisfied. So let's defend what...
Also true. Also true. That's 2 true statements. Wow. 2 true factual statements in one PragerU video. What a day. It's wild. 2021.
And what works is capitalism. Until the unforeseeable shutdown of the economy as a response to the coronavirus, it was working better than ever. Unemployment was at a 50-year low. Wages were rising at the fastest rate in a decade.
Oh, what's that? She's lying completely about Sweden's corporate tax rate? Oh, well, yeah, what a surprise. I'm utterly surprised. PragerU not telling truth? Not reporting factually?
More women and minorities were working than ever before. Poverty was at a record low in America. Let's get back to that as quickly as possible. There's only one way to do it.
It's true. It's true. And the answer is actually not just going to be socialism, which would be a good getcha. I would have liked that one. But if you're talking about why that is eroded in the United States, well, that I can actually tell you. It has a lot to do with, hold on, do I still have them? Yeah, this lovely fellow. I think it was just the anniversary of Ronald Reagan. I think it was his birthday not too long ago. Anyways, neoliberalism, the neoliberal policies, allowing the free market to dictate what happens. The free market not having restrictions, if you will. We have to allow it to control and dedicate and basically be a piston in our lives, a guiding compass, if you will, this free market. Well, that combined with the complete erosion of unions in America, starting, of course, with the airline unions and then just trickling its way down, unlike the economics, which never actually trickled its way up. That had a lot to do with it as well. And then never increasing the minimum wage, despite the fact that things like housing and healthcare have increased astronomically. They've gone up the same way you like the stocks to go up. So those 2 things have increased quite a bit in terms of their costs in the United States. But wages, minimum wage specifically, has stagnated, as have just average wages for working Americans. So those stagnate. The 2 things that people are probably going to need at some point in their lives, housing, healthcare, those become astronomically more expensive. And then we find ourselves in this neat little age where people are basically all alienated, and the leading causes of death are drugs and suicide. So not telling at all, not at all indicative of the age in which we live, the alienation that is experienced. But hey, NRA, right? At least they're winning. NRA is doing good. The NRA is winning the capitalism. So that's that. Good old NRA.
Hello, I'm Johnny Danger.
And I'm not.
And we are 2 silly socialists who made a YouTube channel. It's not good.
Occasionally we talk about leftist stuff, but usually we just talk about
how the reboot of Frogger makes me dissociate.
Is it a drug? Is there subliminal messages that hit my dopamine receptors?
how a wacky game like Death Stranding is actually kinda neat.
Is Kojima secretly a leftist? How a meme format can haunt your dreams. Unmemes, as I'm gonna define them, because like I said, I'm making up this word, is a meme that's meant to cause, discomfort.
What is Lethal League?
You fucking kill people with a ball! How the Magic the Gathering color pie is a philosophical masterpiece.
These colors are what I'd like to focus on in this video, because these colors actually go quite a bit deeper.
And so much more.
So, if you don't mind a couple of meandering lefties, subscribe to our channel. It's not good.
If you want us to advertise your channel or work, please go to weareserfs.com and email us a 20 to 30 second ad, and we'll take it on to the end of one of our videos to help promote your leftist channel or progressive something. Whatever you do.
To our gods, I'm Raph, Xander Corvus, and Schlatsky. We shall build golden idols in your honor. To our monarch, Tom Spiker, you have our undying fealty. To our lords, Jeffrey Lamb, Trevor R., Hans Josephin, C. Bartlett, Jimothy K. Meeple Beeps Jr., Bisexual Black Gamer, and Trofox, we shall carry your banners onto the battlefield. To our Knights of the Round Table, Josh Mickelson, Dylan Byte, Zach Christensen, Todd Buckingham, Todd Lajeunesse, Political Puppy, Jimmy Bignuts, Andreas Chitoro, Good Poon hates cops. That's solid Poon then. Dr. Zayas, Yoppie. Violent Orchard, Sophie Baby, Thomas Barrington, J. Fraser Cartwright, Goofalankius, Melissa Murphy, Nicholas Marks, Alexander Thaler, Ali Rada Jafer, Alex Gauvin, Radical Maniac, The Great Houdini, and Callie Kotka. We salute you.